Well, Matt, looking forward to the weekend, home to Walsall, going in the back of a defeat at home to Salford on Tuesday night. Reflecting on that game first, we spoke immediately after the game when it's difficult to sort of get considered, think too considered about it. What's your 2 days on, 3 days on? What's your view on that game?
Disappointing, not a good performance. Where I felt in the recent games leading up to it, I felt the performances certainly for large parts of the game are there, and I didn't feel so much in that on Tuesday night, albeit for 55 minutes we were well in the game, wasn't a lot in it. Watched it back, first goal's key, and yeah, not a lot between the two sides, and a really strong start for the first 10 minutes of the second half. Several set pieces, a good sustained bit of pressure, and unfortunately the first goal goes against us. So disappointing second goal to concede, but then several good chances at the end to try and to get one back. So yeah, not a lot of different from what I spoke to you after the game, but again a disappointing result for us. Now we find ourselves on the back of no winning 10 league games, and yeah, really working hard and looking and really making sure we all stick together to go again, because that's all you can do. You can't turn the clock back. You can't change anything from Tuesday night or the previous results. You can only look forward. You can only be positive and work as hard as you possibly can to change what you feel you need to change, work on what you feel you need to work on, and hopefully get that little bit of luck to go along with those as well. And that's certainly what we've been doing in the last few days.
When after a game like that, when you come into training on the Wednesday morning, what's the sort of message to the players when they get in? Because they're obviously a bit down after Tuesday and continuing, slump, disappointing form.
Yeah, I always like to think, and I've always been one like it, when we've been on all the good runs that we've been on, and now we find ourselves on an uncharacteristic poor run, that I like to keep pretty consistent in my message and pretty level with how I am as a person. So honesty, reality, win, lose or draw, good run, poor run, is always there with that consistent message. So yeah, we did have a chat with the players on Wednesday morning. I've never been one, again, win, lose or draw, good run, poor run, to be major debriefs or do too much talking in the change room after the game, because you can't affect it. You can't change anything. So you sort of I like to try and take myself out of the heat at the moment a little bit, maybe comment a little bit, but not too much. Reflect, look at the game back to then go back to the players, and another really good positive chat as a group with all of us back into training. And one thing I'm blessed with is really good characters and people, and people who care so much and are hurting like I am to desperately try and put this right, and that's what I've seen in training leading into tomorrow's game.
And I guess you can't dwell too much on the past, because the game's coming thick and fast at the moment, and another home game against Walsall on Saturday. Another side that we've haven't had the greatest of luck with in the past. What are you expecting tomorrow?
It's difficult when you're in these positions. Of course, you're doing your preparation, your analysis like you do with every single game you're leading into. But even more so now that the focus has really got to be on yourself. Of course, we're in a tough game against a big club for the division, and they started okay in the season and they've got some good results. And there, as we know, there is no easy game. So it feels like I say that to you every week, Tony, but it's true. But right now, it's very much on us and the mindset and the things we are trying to improve on tactically and get right to get over the line and get that result, which I feel would give everyone a huge lift and ready to build and improve on that. So it's been very much, of course, huge respect for Walsall and what the threats, and of course we've touched on doing what we normally do. But it's very much as well been the emphasis on us, on what we've got to do, what we've also got to do.
And is the feeling that one win would sort of just change everything and set everything on the right path again?
Yeah, of course. And they say a week in football's a long time, and been in long enough to know that as well. Suddenly, one win can lead into others. As much as it can quickly spiral this way, unfortunately for us, which it has done, and it seems like it has quickly spiraled, and in the matter of weeks, and it's just all a bit quick and a bit of a blur, and you're into the next one because of how thick and fast the games have come at the start of this season, and we're in this is game 7 of 9 in 4 weeks. So it's been a hell of a busy period, and it's just next one. That is, it all goes by pretty quickly. So it's just as much as, unfortunately, it's not going well for us at the moment. And I have seen before that it can turn, and suddenly, before you know it, you've strung a few together, and the morale and the confidence and the belief within the whole club, not just the players, but in everything that we're doing, suddenly just spirals, and before you know it, you can get going the other way, and that is what we're working extremely hard to do.
Of course, that's what's happened several years ago. Do you feel any similarities at the moment between your first season and this one?
Of course, it's not exactly the same. Of course it isn't, because they're different scenarios and different situations. But I do also feel a lot of similarities as well. You suddenly see a turning game, which was Torquay away early November, right back in my first season, which seems a hell of a long time ago, and probably 200 plus games ago. That you suddenly turn, get a result, back it up. And then, that season, from then being in the relegation zone in the first week of November, when COVID hit us, and I'm not sure exactly what date our last game was, or we went into lockdown that year, middle of March, we were suddenly 8 points off the playoffs with 8 games to go, and we were going in the right direction, and you never know. And would we have got there? Who knows? But we certainly going to be threatening. So, and that was us being in the relegation zone in the first week of November. So a 2-1 famous victory that I'll never, ever forget, of a big monumental win that turned our fortunes around that season, that kicked us on and led us into great momentum for then to go and win the National League the following season. And it was, a squad that we didn't really touch or do anything with over the summer during that lockdown period, because we were all set and ready to go. And it was literally how we left off before lockdown is how we started when we came back out. And not too many, 1 or 2 maybe signings in that summer, but not many at all. I mean, obviously Pizzani's coming in because Zanev went back to Wimbledon, but pretty much, Barden, Goodliff, Louis John, Rob Milson, Adjiboy, Randall, Kenny Davis, Buterman, Eastman, Bugel, Show Silver come in that season. Alafe re-signed 2 games in. So not a lot of many changes into that group that had got going the previous year. Whereas this feels like a completely new group again. It feels like a new start again, like I've said to you many times, from the recruitment that I felt we had to do and was needed in the summer. A 50% turn, around 12 players. Some and a lot coming in very late. Not with the amount of games that we've played, sitting here on the 6th, 7th of October tomorrow, I'd like to know how many actual decent training sessions I've got with this complete squad, because of how many we signed them who missed pre-season with us for either signing late or for injuries. Now, are they excuses? No, they're facts. It's reality. But we can't moan about it. We've got to get on with it. And it is the situation, the circumstances that we're under. And like I said, it has spiraled and can spiral pretty quickly. All we've got to do is stop that. Stop it, turn it round, and get back going the other way. And myself, Jace, all the staff, the players, the board, unbelievable commitment and support, been fantastic. Can't try and do enough for you, every single one of them, which is exactly what Sutton United is about. And they can't do enough for you for when you're going to Wembley and you're winning national leagues, and we're trying to keep on improving, and nothing's changed with them. It's so consistent, as I said, with my staff and the players also. So we are very much united as a club. The supporters also, the sponsors, everyone connected is fully behind of where we're at and what we've got to try and do. And as long as we keep that, which I know we will, we stem the tide, we turn it around, and off we go.
And in some ways, it's even more important in runs like this that happens, and everybody sticks together. The supporters stay with you. Everybody stays on the same side. Even more important than when you're doing well.
100%. That as soon as there's cracks appear and different factions of the club start going in different ways, then problems do start arising. It's hard to try and paper over those cracks, which I've been and seen and witnessed at many different clubs and many different years of being assistants. So what has always, and why we are where we are right now as a Football League club for the first season, is the unity and togetherness of Sutton United and the people. So yeah, it's been a great run for us. It's been an unbelievable 4 years. But right, okay, not a good 10 games, but we stick together like we always do, and we'll come out the other side for sure.
And I guess after the 3 years that we've had, it possibly hits people even more than in this situation than it would if we'd had 3 middle of the table normal seasons.
Because you're used to winning, aren't you? And you just keep going, and probably I'm as guilty of that as anybody. And it becomes the norm. But I'm not stupid enough, and I certainly realised when I wanted to be a football manager, and I knew from a very young age that I did. And then through all my experiences in football, and I left school and have been in it ever since at 16. That yeah, like football, like life, it's not all plain sailing, and there's certainly good times. Of course there is, but there's certainly bad and tough times as well. And you really do notice and learn about yourself and others around you, and people who are supporting you when times are difficult. And thankfully, I've got a lot of great people around me to, as I say, stick together and turn this tide and get back on the path we're so used to.
Coming back to tomorrow, we also saw on Tuesday Craig Eastman coming off with 10 minutes to go with what looked like a hamstring injury. Is that confirmed? And presumably, if it is, he's out for a little while.
Yeah, of course, a hamstring injury, which is not looking good for us. It hasn't been good in the first 48 hours. Is when it's quite difficult at that early stage to get a full assessment. He's been sent for a scan. We wait for the results, and we'll work our treatment off of that. But yeah, it's going to be a few weeks at least.
And a few others been on the injured list in the last couple of weeks. What news on them?
Yeah, Louis John sort of came back and a little bit broken down again. He's not far away. Rob Milson's back training. So Scotty Caskett's got his operation on Tuesday. Now the swelling's settled down there. John Barden's continued to do his rehab, and great seeing him, as I always say, in and around the place, and what an inspirational character he is, which is pretty much a year to the day of when
this week.
Yeah, this week, unfortunate injury occurred at Stevenage. Steve Arnold's back in training as well. So we're not too bad, but I'm really unfortunate. Our captain, our leader on the pitch, has worked really hard after his little groin injury to dip back out, to come back again and get fit for us, and really need him on the pitch, and then to unfortunately break down Tuesday night is a big blow to us.
Well, we look forward to tomorrow's game, and I guess the underlying message to everybody is we've got to stay positive and together, and work our way through this at the moment.
That's exactly it, Tony. See you
Right.
tomorrow.
We look forward to the game tomorrow. Thanks as always, Matt, for talking to us, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow.
Brilliant. Thanks, Tony. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Cheers.